Hey, if you're interested in a career in radio, WHIP's got something coming up you might be interested in. On March 29th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the Student Center, we'll be hosting Turns, a networking event with panelists from all around the industry. Check the description for more information. Anyways, it's been a wild news week. We've got the details around a Facebook error that left millions of passwords in a vulnerable format. Also, the special counsel just submitted Mueller's report to the Attorney General.
Why is it always on Friday?
Plus, there was a big fire in Texas. Also, we've got the lowdown on this year's Temple student government elections. From WHIP, I'm Maya Tejada, and this is your WHIP Weekly News Crackdown. Last Wednesday, the U.S. joined other countries, including China and France, in grounding all Boeing 737 MAX jets. This decision comes just over a week after a deadly Ethiopian Airlines crash, which killed at least 150 people. Another fatal plane crash occurred earlier in October when Indonesian airline Lions Air lost Flight 610. Both of these crashes involved Boeing 737 MAX jets, and safety investigations have ensued. Apparently, both flights are missing a safety feature that Boeing sold as an add-on. Boeing and other jet manufacturers make large profits from offering customizable additions to their planes for an additional cost. These add-ons are frequently aesthetic, but some are related to safety, communication, and other important functions. The systems missing here would have provided pilots with more information from some of the plane's sensors. Some experts say this could have helped prevent the recent crashes. These questionable business and marketing practices contributed to the U.S. Justice Department's decision to issue subpoenas in its criminal investigation of Boeing. Currently, both Boeing's FAA certification and marketing strategies for the 737 MAX jet are under investigation. Boeing is already under global scrutiny, and with more investigations into both the company and the FAA, the fate of the American manufacturer is currently unclear. Facebook messed up too this week, again. The company confirmed in a blog post on Thursday that it had stored hundreds of millions of account passwords since 2012 in a plain text format. For reference, most passwords for internet services get stored with various kinds of encryption that scramble them for outside observers. Companies never should ever store plain text passwords, because it's really bad.
Yikes.
So was that. The discovery was made in January in a routine security review, and although their blog states passwords could not be viewed by anyone outside of Facebook, roughly 2,000 engineers and developers had access to them. Currently, there is no evidence to suggest that anyone internally abused or improperly accessed the affected accounts, and Facebook does not know how the error occurred. This incident comes in light of a multitude of security issues that have prompted congressional inquiries and investigations. As of last week, Facebook is under criminal investigation for deals which gave other tech companies access to people's account data without their consent. It is not clear why Facebook took months to confirm or report the security issues to regulators. Facebook will now notify the millions of users affected by the exposure. President Trump announced Wednesday that he supports publicly releasing the results of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russia interference in the 2016 presidential election. Answering questions about the report on the White House South Lawn, Trump stated, quote, "Let it come out. Let people see it. That's up to the Attorney General." This comes a week after the House of Representatives overwhelmingly called on Attorney General William Barr to do the same. Speaking of which, right before we started filming, it happened. The Department of Justice released a notification to Congress early Friday evening stating that Mueller's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election had been concluded and submitted. In compliance with special counsel regulations, the letter states that there were no instances of Mueller's actions being vetoed by any of his superiors at the Justice Department. Barr is likely reviewing the report as we film and has stated he will be in a position to advise Congress of its principal's conclusions as early as this weekend. Barr himself insisted during his confirmation hearing in January that his goal regarding the investigation was to provide as much transparency as possible, but he did not officially promise to release the report. If there are any major details that come up since filming, we'll go to Tony with those right now, but we'll probably get more in depth in a special crackdown next week.
Hey all, it's Tony. On Sunday, Attorney General William Barr released a 4-page summary of the report. To summarize that summary, he did not recommend new charges. Barr stated that Mueller's report found no evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Moscow. In terms of obstruction of justice, Barr stated that Mueller's report did not lean one way or the other, neither accusing nor exonerating him. This answer isn't as clear as it seems on the surface. I've waited until just past 7 p.m. on Sunday for independent reviews of the report, for example, word from Congress having seen it. But this hasn't happened. The content of the actual report is important because many are concerned with conflicts of interest that William Barr may have in reporting its details. His predecessor was fired after being criticized at length by the president for allowing the investigation to occur at all, and Barr was appointed by the president in some moderately sketchy circumstances. We actually did a whole episode on this last semester. Many of these concerns relate to obstruction of justice, the area in which Barr's summary was most ambiguous. Adding to these discrepancies, the president tweeted after all this that the report completely exonerated him. This statement contradicts Barr's summary, which specifically states that the report does not exonerate him. But it'd be much easier to assess what details do exonerate the president and to what extent if we had access to the report. So, the next week is probably going to be a spicy one. Congress is going to want that full report. They voted overwhelmingly for it over a week ago. The public is going to want that report too. Let's be real, many already had their minds made up about what that report was going to say. If we're going to move on as a country, we need to know the facts. Right now, all we've got is a summary, and that summary only comes from one person. It's hard to say what this all means. We haven't even mentioned the other dozen or so investigations the president is currently facing, but you bet we'll be talking about it next week.
A massive Intercontinental Terminals Company facility fire in Deer Park, Texas, was finally declared extinguished at 3 a.m. on Wednesday. The fire had been burning since Sunday of last week. It started with one tank at ITC before spreading to more. By Wednesday, 6 tanks were burning as emergency responders worked with foam and water to try and control its spread. Shelter-in-place orders were given on Thursday in response to elevated benzene levels following the fire. The orders were lifted by the next day, but schools in the area canceled classes on Friday due to bad air quality. Schools in Charlottesville, Virginia were shut down for 2 days starting Thursday after Charlottesville High School received an anonymous threat via 4chan. The user posting anonymously threatened to stage a, quote, ethnic cleansing. Although authorities did not know if these threats were legitimate, they decided to shut down Charlottesville schools after being forwarded the messages on Wednesday night. Authorities in Charlottesville arrested a 17-year-old boy on Friday in connection to the threats. He was charged with threatening to commit serious bodily harm on a school property, as well as harassment. These posts came less than a week after footage of the largest mass shooting in New Zealand's history was propagated widely on 4chan and similar sites. Charlottesville itself has faced problems with extremism on 4chan before. The platform was used to advertise and plan the Unite the Right rally, which turned deadly in 2017. Police are currently investigating the issue with assistance from the state police and the FBI. Now for some really good news. At Thursday's iHeartRadio Music Awards, Drake Bell said that there would be a reboot of the Nickelodeon sitcom Drake and Josh, and will feature himself and co-star Josh Peck. People, which first reported the story, said Bell and Peck are in talks with several networks about the project, which a source said will, quote, be more adult and really funny. The show aired on Nickelodeon from 2004 to 2007, but they want the reboot to be more interesting. The duo had a brief falling out when Bell was not invited to Peck's wedding in 2017, but quickly made up. Bell said he is eager to work with his co-star again.
Yay!
Elections for Temple student government are underway, with 2 administrations vying for the executive branch. Becoming to You is headed by Francesca Capozzi, a sophomore political science and English major who is running for president. Her vice presidential candidate of external affairs is Kaya Jones, a junior political science and journalism major. Running alongside them is Larissa Banks, a sophomore health professions major and the vice presidential candidate of services. Becoming to You's platform includes key points such as uniting the North Philadelphia community with Temple students, mandating that TSG members attend 2 hours of meetings with organizations which they are not a part of, and reworking Temple's parliament in a period of inactivity during fall 2019. Rise to You also announced their campaign this week, led by presidential candidate Alexandra Gordon, a junior political science and Africology major. She is joined by Alex Rosenberg, the team's vice presidential candidate of external affairs, who is a junior political science major, and Diamante Ortiz, a junior political science major who is running for vice president of services. Rise to You's platform is based in points such as an initiative to improve Temple and the surrounding communities' access to fresh food, promoting students' awareness of assistance programs like SNAP and the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, and expanding student organizations' access to university buildings to hold meetings and events. The first debate between the two administrations was held on Thursday, where conversations revolved around issues with Temple's parliament, the ongoing mumps outbreak, and the university's relationship with North Philadelphia. Regardless of who wins this election season, next school year we will see Temple University's first female student government president since Natalie Ramos Castillo, a 2011 early childhood education alumna who served during the 2010 to 2011 academic year. And finally, an update on the mumps because it's spreading, unfortunately. Temple University's confirmed and suspected mumps cases have surpassed 85, and the virus has begun to spread around the Delaware Valley region. Included in these numbers is one case at Westchester University. In response to these growing numbers, Temple University will hold 2 free walk-in vaccination clinics for the MMR vaccine. Temple Student and Employee Health Services and the Philadelphia Department of Public Health will host the clinics in Mitten Hall's Great Court on Wednesday, March 27th and Friday, March 29th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Students, faculty, and staff must show their OWL card to be eligible for the vaccine. Wow, what a news week. That's all the time we've got for today. Please like, subscribe, and share. Usually we only tell you to do this if you like our content, but at the very least, spread the word about the mumps vaccine. Please join us next week for more of the news that you care about. From WHIP, I'm Maya Tejada, and this has been your WHIP Weekly News Crackdown.
The mumps!
No.
Mumps!
No.